Welcome to OMG Crochet and Crafts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these gorgeous cow print fluffy leg warmers. Now to do this we're going to need some Aran yarn in white, some Aran yarn in black. We're going to need a 5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle. Now this is a latch hook. As you can see, it's got this piece that moves backwards and forwards. Now because to make these leg warmers fluffy, we'll be latch hooking pieces of yarn onto the crocheted piece. Now you can do this with a crochet hook, however it is much easier to use a latch hook for this. So I would recommend using a latch hook. However, you can use a crochet hook if you don't have a latch hook. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so we're going to start off with a chain. Now this chain needs to fit around the very top of your calf, just under your knee. But it needs to be tight. You need to pull it tight, and there needs to be about ½ inch of space. That is going to get bigger, by the way, but there needs to be about ½ inch of space between the two ends of your chain. Now for me that was 45 chains, so I'm going to chain 45, but you chain as long as you need to reach, like I said, around your calf with about ½ inch of space between the two ends. And you need to finish with an odd number of chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to get my chains done and I'll be back once I am done with my chains. So I finished my chains. And we're going to jump right into row 1. Now row 1 is a row of mesh stitch, but it's done with half double crochets instead of double crochets, and we're making little holes for our I-cord to be able to thread through around the top. So I'm going to do a half double crochet into the 5th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into that 5th chain I'm doing a half double crochet. So half double crochet, we wrap our hook, go into our stitch, if I can get it in, is that the right stitch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nope, that was not the right stitch. So half double crochet into the stitch, so grab a loop, pull it through, grab a loop, pull through all of the loops on my hook. Okay, and I'm going to chain 1, skip a chain, and do a half double crochet into the next. We're going to chain 1, skip a chain at the bottom, and do a half double crochet into the next. And we're going to continue to do that all the way across the row. So I'm going to get my first row done, and I will be right back. Right, so that is row 1 done. If you now wrap this piece around your calf, right at the top underneath your knee, you'll notice that the gap between the two ends is slightly larger. That is fine because that gives us enough space to tighten them up so that they don't fall down. Okay, now moving on from this row, we're going to start our increase rows. Now for every row to start and end, your first 2 stitches will be mesh stitch. So when I say your first 2 stitches, I'm going to say chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and those are your first 2 stitches. And then you'll half double crochet into the first half double crochet. Okay, now across this row and every following row, you're going to need to increase by 5 half double crochets evenly across the row. So what I would do is take whatever number you've got minus the first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches, so minus 4 stitches, and then divide that number by 5. And that is how often you'll need to increase. Now, if it's not an even number, just work out the difference in between. It doesn't have to be an exact science. Just make sure that you're increasing 5 times across the row. Okay, and you're going to do that this row and every following row until your piece is large enough to fit loosely around your calf. And I don't know if I said it already, but we're working in half double crochets all the way across the row until we get to 2 stitches from the end. So you're going to finish off in this half double crochet here, and then you're going to chain 1 and do a half double crochet into the second chain from here. So I'm going to work until I get to the other side of this row, and then I'll show you the mesh stitch on the other end. Alright, so I've got to the we've just got one more stitch before the last 2 stitches, so that is that double half double crochet there, and we're then going to chain 1 and we're going to do a half double crochet into the 1, 2, 3rd chain. Sorry, not 1, 2, 3rd chain, yes, like so. So you're creating a little eyelet on the edge of each row. So that is my first increase row. Now I'm going to continue to increase the same way, so 5 increase by 5 stitches evenly all the way across the row until this piece fits loosely around the largest part of my calf. So you want it to fit loosely. There needs to be a little bit of a gap between your skin and the work. For me, that is roughly another 5 rows of increases. You might have more rows, you might have less rows. But keep working until your piece fits loosely around the largest part of your calf, and we will go from there. I'm going to get mine done, and I will catch up with you in just a second. So I've worked 5 rows of increases in total now, so this fits around the widest part of my calf. I'm now going to work 1 row of half doubles without any increases. Now this is going to fit my calf. So you may have less rows of increases, you may have more rows of increases. If you have more rows of increases, that's perfectly fine. It just means this lace up section is just going to be a bit longer. If you have less rows, however, I need you to work as many rows as you need to make this section 7 rows wide in total. Okay, if you have more than 7 rows for your number of increases, that's perfectly fine. But if you have less, make this section 7 rows long. It's just so that you've got a wide enough section to lace it up at the top. So like I say, if you've got more than 7 rows, that's absolutely fine. It just means your lace up section will be a bit wider. So I'm going to work this final row. So again, we work the lace up section on the front. So your chain of 3 and then a half double crochet. And then I'm just going to work half double crochets all the way around till I get to the other end, and then do a chain 1 and a half double crochet at the end. So I'm going to get this row done, and then I'm going to show you the pattern row and how to join it. Okay, so I've got my 7 rows now. I wanted to say, if you want your lace up section to be longer, you can carry on working in straight half double crochets until you've got as many rows as you would like for your lace up section. This is the size that I would like, so this is what I'm going for, okay? So I've got my 7 rows for the lace up section, and I'm now going to start the grid pattern for that I'm going to use for the latch hooking. Okay, so to start that, we start the row as normal with a chain 3 and a half double crochet like normal, like as say same as if you were starting for the eyelet. Okay, so chain 3 and a half double crochet like so, and then we're going to chain 1, skip 1 and half double crochet, and that is the pattern. You chain 1, skip 1 and half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. So I'm going to get that worked all the way around, and I'll meet you at the other side and show you how to join it. So I have worked all the way around with the mesh stitch, and I put my last half double crochet into the chain 2 from the previous round, and to join, all we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and we're going to slip stitch into the second chain of the start of our round, like so. Okay, we're then going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, half double crochet into the half double crochet from the previous round, and then chain 1 and half double into the previous half double, and you work all the way around till you get to the end of the row, and then just like before, when you're at the end of the row, you chain 1 and slip stitch into the second chain from your previous round. So that is the pattern that you need to work, and you need to continue to work in this pattern until the piece is as long as you want it to be. Now remember that when the piece is when the leg warmer is finished, is going to have an extra inch to an inch and a half of the fringe coming off the bottom of it. So when you make these, make sure you take into account that fringe. Now I'm making mine to be worn on top of platform boots, so I am making mine to come down to the bottom of my heel. For me, that is 30 rows. Let me show you. Here's one I made earlier. That is the finished leg warmer with the grid pattern ready for us to latch into. And I'm obviously working on the second one at the moment. So this is 30 rows of the mesh stitch. So that is what I'm going to do on my second one. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to show you how to latch hook your fringe in place. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a moment to get ready. You're going to need to take a screenshot of the pattern that I am going to put in place in just a minute. Once you've got that screenshot, I'm going to show you how to use Stitch Fiddle. So get ready to take a screenshot, and then we will go on to use Stitch Fiddle so that you can create the grid pattern you're going to need to latch hook the cow print pattern onto your own leg warmers. So 3, 2, 1. So I am going to show you how to use Stitch Fiddle right now. So head over to Google, search Stitch Fiddle. You'll see it's the first thing that comes up for me. We're going to select Stitch Fiddle. This is the website. It is stitchfiddle.com, plain and simple. Head over to that, Stitch Fiddle. Now I already have an account. You can create your own account, but you don't really need to. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, click on Create New Chart, and then we are clicking on Latch Hook. Colors, select no preference for now. We can change that later. And then select from picture. We're going to tap on this picture. We are going to just ignore the grids that I already have in there. We are going to select the picture that we want. Click on Done. We're going to adjust the settings. In the size scale, we're going to select the drop down list with keep width and height scale, because we don't want that. We want a custom size. Now for the width, you are going to enter the number of stitches, the number of holes you have going across your row. For me, that's 37. And for your height, you're going to enter the amount of rows you have. For me, that is 30. Okay, select next. Project size in inches. We don't need to really worry about this this section here. We can go down to no preference and change the colors here. We don't really have to. Just keep no preference and click on your picture here. Now this is what it looks like. You're going to have some darker sections and some lighter sections, but for me, anything that is not the dark is white and anything that is the dark is black. So I'm going to click Save Chart, and there you have it. Now if I zoom in on the chart, you will see that we have 30 rows and 37 stitches. Now I start down in the bottom corner here. That is my very first stitch, and then I work from right to left all the way across to this stitch here, and then I work up a row, and then I go to row 29 and I'll work all the way back across the row till I get to row to this side here, and then again I'll go up and move back across, and so on and so forth. So anything in these darker circle sections here I count as black, and anything in the lighter sections here I count as white. It is that simple. That is how we're using Stitch Fiddle. I then take a screenshot of my grid once it's all on the same page. I take a screenshot of my grid, and there we have it. That then goes into my gallery and we work from there. So that's how you use Stitch Fiddle. That's how you create your own grid. After this, I am going to show you how to do some latch hooking. So once we have finished our leg warmers, we need to move on to the I-cords, which is what we use to lace them up. Now, for me, my I-cord length is 50 centimeters, so that's half a meter. And to do that, I have got around 3 meters. Let me measure this. So that's, bear with me. So to make a 50 centimeter I-cord, I have got just under 4 meters of white yarn, which I've folded in half, and I'm going to put a slip knot right in the middle, like so. Okay, and I'm going to pop that on my hook. Okay, and tighten that up. Okay, we're then going to take the front piece and wrap it over the yarn, over the hook. That's called a yarn under. Going to hold that at the bottom, and then we're going to do a yarn over and pull that through the 2 loops. Okay, and that is how you make an I-cord. You wrap the front piece over, and then you do a yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. And you're going to continue to do that until your I-cord, like I said, mine was 50 centimeters long to lace it up at the front. If you worked the 7 rows like I did, then I would suggest 50 centimeters for your I-cord. If you worked more than 7 rows, then I would suggest that you start with maybe 5 meters of yarn, and you measure how much you need. As you get to about 50 centimeters, you lace up your leg warmers and start to measure and see how much you actually need to work on your I-cord. This is unfortunately not something I can give you a set measurement for. It's a trial and error sort of thing. But what I can say is that this does use up more yarn than you think it will. Like I said, I've got nearly 4 meters of yarn here, and that's going to give me an I-cord of 50 centimeters with 2 ends left over. That'll be about 10 centimeters each. So bear that in mind. So if you think you need to make a longer I-cord, use more yarn than you think you will. Rather take up too much than too little, because if you have too little yarn, you just have to start all over. So yeah, rather use more yarn than you think you're going to need. Start with 6 or 7 meters with your knot in the middle, and just keep working until your piece is long enough, and we'll go from there. So once you've got your I-cord finished, you've got them for both of your leg warmers, we're then going to move on to the latch hooking part of this tutorial. Okay, so we now have our 2 leg warmers made up and our I-cords laced up through the top. Okay, so it's time to get the latch hooking process started. So in each of these baskets, I have got just over 1,000 pieces of yarn, some white and some black. I'm going to show you how I did these because it is really quite simple. These are the pieces that we're going to be using to latch hook to the leg warmer. And you might think that I've gone a bit overboard with having over 1,000 pieces in white and 1,000 pieces in black, but each one of my leg warmers has 1,100 little holes in it that I need to fill with bits of yarn. So let me show you how I've done this. I'm going to create some more white pieces. Move those to the side. So actually I'll move them to the back there. Move the camera just a little bit. Okay, so what I do to create these. Now you can measure, for example, a 3-inch piece. How long did I make mine? Let's see. Yeah, 3 inches. Nearly 4 inches actually. So what I've done is I've taken my hand, I've laid it flat, put the end through my pinky and my ring finger, and I've opened my fingers up just a little bit, and I wrap it. And then I continue wrapping, and I count while I do it. So I counted up to 100 every time, which gave me 200 pieces of yarn because I cut here and I cut at the bottom as well. I'm not going to do 100 on this video. This is just for illustration purposes. So this is how, let's just keep going till we get to 20, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then I take a big pair of scissors because little scissors will take a little while to cut through this gap. Now be careful when you do this that you don't slice yourself. So we cut at the top. And then we fold this bit over in half like so. And we cut at the bottom as well. And that creates the pieces you need for latch hooking. So let's move on to how you do the latch hooking. Okie dokie. So you should now have an understanding of how to use Stitch Fiddle. It's very simple, literally just upload a photograph and you'll have your grid. So I'm going to show you how to do some latch hooking. I'm going to start with the black just so you can see it easily on against the white, and I'm going to be using my latch hook, although that might not be the right size. Bear with me. That one might be better. Yeah. Okie dokie. So what you're going to need to do once you've got your grid pattern is you're going to need to find the center of your front and the center of your back. Okay, and I would do that by folding it where that hole is, where you split it down the top, you fold it like so. Okay, and then I would work side to side like so. Okay, so you'd start with your first, this is the center of the back going down this way here. Okay, and you would start with, sorry, let me fold that over so you can move that to the center. You start with your first grid piece in the center back at the bottom here. So to do that, to do the latch hooking, okay, I would move this to the side. It's just easier for me to work sideways like this. Okay, and we fold our pieces in half. That is how we move them through the piece. You take your latch hook, you go up through the hole, you grab your hook and you put it through, and then you grab your ends and pull those through the hole that you've created, like so. Okay, and then you pull them tight. And you move on to the next hole. And you grab your piece. Oh, sorry, I've hooked onto it. You go into your hole, you grab your piece, you pull it through, grab your ends, and you pull those through. And you pull it tight. And you're going to keep working like that, following your grid from right to left, going down. So this will be your first grid square of your first row here, going down and then around the other side. Okay, and that's how you do some latch hooking. So one last time, you fold your bit of yarn in half, you grab it, you pull it through, you grab it, and you pull it through the loop. Oh, I've gone through the fabric like so. Okay. And that is how you latch hook. So I'm going to leave you to get on with the latch hooking. I will come back once my first leg warmer is complete. I will show you off my first leg warmer. But other than that, I will show them both off at the end of the video. Happy latch hooking! So there we have our cow print leg warmers. They are finished and fluffy and beautiful. I am still going to steam them just to get everything set in place and straightened out. But that is it. Those are them finished.